Hello everyone, and welcome back to CEO Diaries. We are now live on Facebook and the Facebook group and LinkedIn and YouTube, everywhere we should be. So welcome. As you join, please say hi. Please engage. As you know, with CEO Diaries, this is always a conversation. We are, of course, here to share our learnings, what's worked, what hasn't, our ideas about a particular topic. Today's topic, of course, being TikTok. But also here to understand your context and what's been working from you so we can all learn together and also answer any questions you might have as we go through. So with that in mind, I think we'll start with some quick intros, Mix, as people are still joining. So I obviously am CEO of Future Females, and so I focus mostly on the business strategy and less on the tactical, which is why I'm really excited to be joined here by Micaela, who has been with the Future Females team. How long is it now, Mix?
Almost 3 years now. How exciting.
Almost 3 years. Yay. Exciting. Oh, and you're representing with your t-shirt and I am not at all. So thank you.
Always.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce yourself and your role?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Micaela. I started off as the graphic designer, and about a year ago, I've taken over the TikTok content creator role. TikTok has just been something that I seem to have been hooked on for the last few years, and I find the platform very interesting. So I did reach out to Future Females and said I wanted to take over. So yeah.
And here we are. So the agenda for this session, just for everyone who's tuning in, we want to share with you, I guess, a bit of our journey as Future Females on TikTok, learning about the channel, or the platform, which is a channel for us, what works, what doesn't. And then Micaela is also, I guess, our lead designer under our head of brand. So can also be sharing tips from the content creation side. So I want to dig into all of those. But Mix, I think let's start with just like, why TikTok? From your perspective, why is it so important to be on there?
So TikTok, the way I kind of got into it was it just became one of those things that I know everybody was talking about. And once I've gotten into it, I kind of understand why it is people are so hooked. Like YouTube, people go to YouTube to kind of gain knowledge and educate themselves and manage to like gather information. But TikTok is just such a quick, easy way to gain information on anything that you show interest in, whether it's like a how-to or just keeping up to date with current events or anything, or even if you're just looking to have to engage with just fun, lighthearted TikTok, it's just or videos. It's just a very easy accessible platform to engage in. And you're able to engage with educational videos that are just quick and get straight to the point. And it's very good space.
Definitely. I remember firstly, obviously using it personally and getting addicted. But secondly, in the early days of TikTok, how we were able to grow an audience quite quickly. I guess because it's new, but also just the nature of TikTok and the difference in algorithm too between Instagram and TikTok. But let's take ourselves right back to the early days where I know we were doing a lot of experimentation. What were some of the things you were trying? Like what was falling completely flat and what was working quite well?
Yeah, so when we started off, I know that one of the approaches we took was just doing things the TikTok way. So that was engaging with the trends, doing the dances, using the sounds, and it did work quite a bit. Sometimes it failed, sometimes it didn't. But I think the main thing that our main approach was taking our niche and just applying it into whatever way the TikTok algorithm encouraged it. So for us, it's we empower women to start businesses. So we'd always take that narrative and just apply it to whatever was trending on TikTok. And I know over time, like I said, the educational aspect is so important. So we aim to educate and inspire in the space. So that the way we approached that was by taking inspirational footage of female founders and female founder celebrities that we felt resonated a lot with what it is that we offer. And the things that the content that we found did the best was always the content that was very relevant. So when we were keeping up to date with who was relevant in the media, what was trending, that always seemed to get the highest engagement. And I think that's how one of our first videos went viral, was because we found this interview by this one celebrity who was talking about failure and her approach to conquering failure. And I guess that resonated with our audience, and it just got a lot of reach. So yeah, I think just as long as you're keeping up to the trends and that, yeah, you'll eventually.
And I mean, is that still the same strategy? In fact, you were telling me earlier, I've never done like fake pyramids with my arms more than since they've been broken, and it just looks ridiculous. You were explaining to me earlier the content strategy that you're following now for us that's working really nicely. Do you want to just share a bit more about that?
Yes, so visually, the way I kind of visualize it, it's an upside down pyramid where it's broken down into 3 parts, which is inspirational content, educational content, and then promotional. So majority of the content that we do create is inspirational, whether it's like an inspirational quote or just something that's a little bit motivational, trying to build our audience up when they're feeling down. That's what I feel kind of attracts the audience that we're looking for, people who are in that space, who are looking to build themselves up in their business, in their life. And then educational is the middle pillar. So we don't post as much, but it's still in that hierarchy of consistent content that we're creating. And then that kind of leads down into the promotional. I think where we've kind of gone through trial and error is when we do heavily promotional videos that is very much like in your face, like this is our product, you should buy from us. It never did well. So whenever we touched on like the educational, like whether it's like how to boost your ads on TikTok or how to use ChatGPT to leverage your business or whatever, we've kind of like hinted towards it and did like a very like light push into the promotional side. And then that bottom promotional pillar, the way we've kind of approached it, like I said, is just taking the trends and touching our product, or like kind of linking our product to it in a very light and fun and creative way, so it doesn't feel so in your face. But yeah, yes, definitely.
I love just popping this up because Rachel's been mapping our strategy into the comments as you've been going through it, which is super helpful for everyone else tuned in. So thanks, Rachel. So exactly as you put there, right? The upside down funnel, inspirational, educational, promotional. Amazing.
Yes.
Mix, you just mentioned that typically the like overly designed and branded content doesn't do as well, which is so interesting also to hear from our designer. So when does that work, and what do you do instead if it is something promotional?
Yes, so I found when I did start out, I was doing things the way I would normally do as if we're creating promotional content for other socials like Instagram. I'd either create it through After Effects or using Canva, and then transferring that into TikTok. But I found that I think TikTok is aware that we're not using the tools that it's kind of given to us. So originally, I just go about creating promotional videos just using the tools that TikTok provides with text and audio and sound and whatever effects it's given. And over the last few months, I've definitely seen that TikTok has advanced so much in terms of like creating a platform where it's so easy to edit your content. But now I'm aware that it's now bought into CapCut, which makes life so much easier. So lately we've been editing a lot of our promotional and like even like our fun content through CapCut, which does make editing a lot more fun and easy. There's a lot more variety in terms of effects and design elements and that. I know one of the videos I created a while ago was to promote our rebranding, and I did use Canva. I think it only got like 20 or so views. It didn't even get into like the 1,000 mark, which was quite like heartbreaking to see because it did take a while to make. But I guess lesson learned, that's also something that I've kind of like made a general rule for myself, is I never spend more than 30 minutes on a video because it could either go super well or it can't. And I guess it's a little bit less heartbreaking when you spend a little less time. And the videos that do generally take quick to make always seem to be the ones that do exceptionally well. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good rule I need to implement for reels as well. Otherwise, I just obsess about the finicky details.
Yeah.
One of the things that I understand is important, well, I know from Instagram, so tell me your perspective from TikTok, is that what's on the cover matters a lot. I know on Instagram, like you'll scroll past it if there's not that hook or that pattern interrupt. Is it the same on TikTok? And what sort of hook or pattern interrupt has been working best?
Yes. So I think the first 3 seconds of engagement in your video is very important. So we try to draw the audience's attention. Like, I think specifically for us in our inspirational side, our best viewed videos that we have are the our founder features. So we talk about female founders and how it is that they became so successful. So we'd say our hooks are generally like how this person created this, whatever their hook is, or whatever it is that they attained in their niche, and we'll then say who the person is, rather than putting emphasis on whoever the founder is. It's rather what it is they did, because you always find that the people engaging with the TikToks, maybe there's something specific they want to learn through that. So yeah, and generally making a little bit more rather than static standstill videos. I've been trying to incorporate a little bit more dimension and like what's the word, like creating a little bit more movement in that in the videos, just to kind of catch your eye, just so it seems a little bit more interesting rather than just having like videos sitting still and all that.
Yeah. Well, as a quick segue, obviously it's the 31st of May, and tomorrow, the 1st of June, is a new course release for Future Females. And the course that we are launching is on TikTok, which makes this very timely. We've actually collaborated with an incredible creator, Nadia Jaftha, who has 2.1 million followers now on TikTok, also runs a TikTok agency. And so she has created a course with us that goes like super in depth into the strategies that are working now to grow your following, to create that content. So if you do want to learn more, click through. Why it triggered me now is because Mix, the video you've created that we're going to launch tomorrow to celebrate that course it's amazing. And it is exactly as you're saying, with all of that dimension coming through.
Yeah. Cool.
Let me pop this up from Rachel. What's the limit of using too many templates so as not to be a spammy account?
When you say templates, do you mean, or what does she generally mean by templates in terms of?
Yeah, maybe you can build on that, Rachel, because I mean, I've seen accounts that, for example, are quote accounts. And so they're pretty much just sharing a quote every day, but it's not necessarily spammy because that's why people are following them, right? But yeah, if you can build on templates, then I'll throw it back at Mix for you.
Yeah. What I would definitely say is I don't feel you could ever be too spammy with TikToks. I know that they do encourage you to post more and to be more consistent with your posting. So the more you post and the more CapCut templates. Yes, so I think from what we've experimented, I know based off feedback I've had through a lot of other TikTok content creators, I know it's always like a hit or a miss. So I think if TikTok's always encouraging you to try the templates, experiment with it, and just I think the whole point of the platform is for you to just create more, as long as it's relevant to what it is you're offering and the narrative you're trying to share. I don't think it can ever come across as too spammy. I think a nice way to also kind of get an idea of what your audience is into and what they're not is you can look at the analytics and see what content is getting more engagement and what's not. And obviously the content that you see are getting more views and more engagement and more clicks and so forth. You obviously create more content like that because clearly that's what your audience wants to see. So I guess the more that you create, they're always going to come back for more, and they'll always, maybe one video will reach a certain audience and another will reach a different type of audience. So that's the nice thing about the app, is that I don't think it could ever be too much.
Yeah. And I think, and you did touch on this before, but since TikTok bought CapCut, or at least a percentage of it, they have really, and this is in Nadia also reflected on this. She's like, literally her in her video, she's like cap cut, cap cut, cap cut, because
Yeah,
TikTok wants you to use it because they own it. So I actually
yeah,
think it's one of the best things you can do in terms of going like viral as opposed to using templates from other places. So yeah.
yeah, definitely. Use CapCut, use the templates, hashtag CapCut, tag CapCut in it. That's what they essentially want from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go for it.
So, Mix, in terms of frequency of posts, like how long do you see content lasting in terms of engagement on the platform? What's kind of an ideal frequency for people?
So I see it's so interesting because I constantly see, especially with our TikTok, that people are still engaging with TikToks that we've made over a year ago. And I guess it's really dependent on like the type of video and yeah, the ones that specifically have done well and have gone viral are constantly, I think the algorithm is constantly pushing it to get that engagement. So yeah, I think the general rule, and I think I saw Nadia also touched on this, which is something we've also like kind of touched on, is for every 2 short videos you post a long one. And yeah, I think the shorter videos do generally get that longer sense of engagement because people tend to like, we all sometimes have a little bit of small mind. We love to watch things on loop. I know I get caught up in that sometimes where I'm watching the same video a little bit a little longer than I need to. But yeah, definitely.
Okay, perfect. I think I'm going to put this one up. This is Charlene. So Charlene said she's been racking her brain because she doesn't like seeing promotions, but with AI's help, I can focus on inspirational, educational. I know, Mix, that you do use ChatGPT. Do you want to share that process a little?
Yeah, definitely. So recently I've actually been using ChatGPT to just kind of get inspiration for the content that I'm creating. So if I am feeling a little bit stuck in terms of like what sort of educational content I could create, I do turn to ChatGPT and say like, give me some tips for this certain topic, and then I'll create a video based off of the tips that it gives me. And yeah, it's definitely a huge help, I think, in terms of finding inspiration. I know you could also use it to be able to ask like what is currently trending on TikTok, and it'll also like direct you to certain links. So yeah, I guess really dependent on what it is that the content that you're creating. In terms of inspirational content, I guess you could always like, if you are posting quotes, like using AI to help you formulate certain like unique ways of creating storylines or like quotations and all that, and creating videos based off of that. If you're doing educational content, you could always use it to find some useful tips or whatever it is that you're trying to depict across. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And then another thing that we still do, and I know we've done since the start and also on Instagram, is actually reposting other people's content. So we're not always creating our own from scratch, right? We talk about how you choose them, and then also like any kind of best practices around reposting.
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, that's a recent feature that I see that TikTok has allowed, is for you to repost other creators' content. So if you see a video, you click share and then you can repost it. And that has actually been such a massive win for us in terms of like creating engagement, because sometimes like you do tend to have like that little bit of creative block. And I don't think TikTok encourages you to go and like essentially take ideas from other creators and recreating it. So why not just repost something that you see that you like, that resonates with you, that resonates with your brand, and people go and like it, and they are able to see that your account is the one that reshared it, even though it's giving views to another account. It's also a nice way to support another community. For us, I've been constantly resharing inspirational videos, or like any sort of sassy, cheeky video that I think kind of resonates with our tone. But otherwise, whenever I do see female founders creating like a day in the life or sharing their process with their business, I just think it's such a nice way to also kind of support our community and reach out to a different sort of audience. And yeah, it's just nice to create that supportive environment for other creators as well. They're all here for the same thing, essentially, to grow and to create engagement. So I think it's such a nice feature.
Absolutely. Do you see this question, just to follow on, around whether we need permission or not for resharing?
Oh, no, definitely not. You could just repost it and they'll just say that your account has reposted this video. You do not need any permission, although if you are looking to download the video and post it on your own account, that's a big no-no. Rather, don't do that unless you're going to credit the account. But I don't think that's something that's acceptable on TikTok. I know people generally do that with Instagram. If they see a TikTok they like, they repost it on Instagram and tag the creator. But TikTok is strictly, they're looking for original storytelling content. They want you to create your own videos, essentially.
Okay, perfect. Mix, I know I want to get on to something that just fell flat for us. I think you know what's coming. So on Instagram, DMing has been like quite a nice strategy for community building and engagement. And then we tested it on TikTok. Do you want to share kind of the approach we took and the results?
Yeah, that created a little bit of a downfall for us. We did try to, I think what I noticed with TikTok, you're only able to DM followers or accounts that you mutually follow. So if they follow you and you follow them back, that's how you could create that sort of engagement in terms of connecting. But yeah, we went through a bit of a strategy where we'd follow accounts that follow us, and then we privately DM them about what it is that we're offering and sharing links and that. But we found that when we did that, we actually lost a lot of followers. I think people prefer to indirectly engage with the content that we're creating. So like I said, I don't think people were a huge fan of like the big push for promotional content. I think as long as you're like constantly hinting at it in the content that you're creating, and then you do create your own individual like specific video that is directed or is specifically there to promote the content, I think that works a lot better for us. And also we've recently been experimenting with TikTok ads, which has been such an exciting new chapter for us. So we're finding that's working a lot better than the DMing. But I guess every platform has its perks and its downfalls. So yeah, that's just not how TikTok, it just doesn't fly in TikTok to slip into people's DMs. People don't like that. So
yeah, I find it so interesting. It was like such a blatant difference from Instagram. But still, I mean, everyone's got to keep experimenting, right? Including us, and learning. Well, now you guys maybe don't need to, because we don't want you to lose followers. But as Mick said, right, we now like use the content for engagement, and the ads are more for lead generation. For example, like, you know, if I'm hosting a free webinar, we have to post it to our feed, but then we boost it through ads on TikTok. And that's really how we've been able to get the traction. What's interesting is the TikTok leads normally start quite low, but they, as you run your campaign, or what I saw was that it increased to roughly the same cost as what we were seeing on Instagram. So my hypothesis that I guess, Mix, you and I will have to prove, is that the ads don't last as long on TikTok. So you have to keep posting different content variations. Whereas with Meta, you can kind of have the same thing running behind the scenes for a little bit longer. Do you have a thought on that?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think we haven't experimented with it enough to be able to like give a final conclusion to what we think. But yeah, I definitely seen that slowly as we started boosting the ads, it did get like very little engagement, but then over time it just grew and grew and grew. But then slowly after a few days, it did start to slow down. But I think if you do need that initial like boost or need to get instant leads to boost that ad, it will get immediate traction. So yeah, but there's still a lot that we have to learn and experiment with that. So I'm very excited for that chapter in our TikTok. Yeah, definitely.
We'll have to come and do a TikTok ads CEO diaries in a month or so after we have more data.
Awesome. Yes.
Cool. Guys, do you have any other questions about TikTok generally, or any shares of, you know, maybe where you're struggling? Really, really happy to answer them for you. Mix, while some of them are being added, maybe you want to just share, like, for us looking forwards, right? And I recognize quite a few of the names here. I think we have a lot of our members on who know kind of every month we're launching a course, right? And we're kind of in this more consistent rhythm. So how are you thinking about TikTok for engagement and acquisition, like following that approach?
Yeah, so I think just moving forward, I think especially with TikTok, everything is just a constant learning. You just have to have a constant learning approach because the app, it's forever changing. The way that we did things a year ago or even a few months ago may not be the best way to approach creating engagement and boosting leads now. I've definitely seen a shift in the way that TikTok works. So I think as long as you're constantly engaging with the app and keeping up to date with what's trending, how the algorithm is changing, what it is that TikTok's looking for you to do, as long as you're just constantly up to date with that, yeah, it should work in your favor. It's one of those platforms that you just have to, yeah, I guess it's all just trial and error. Don't be shy to experiment. Don't be afraid to post more. And like you said, like with the DMing, it was one of those things we tried, it didn't work. Move on. Just don't continue engaging with the things that aren't working for you. See what it is that find your niche, apply it to all the content that you're creating, and yeah, just don't be afraid to experiment with different things, and whatever works, just keep doing that, I suppose. So yeah.
Perfect. You did touch on this before, but just popping it back up. How important would you say it is to post every day?
It's very important. I definitely see a difference in terms of engagement if you're posting every day. I went through a phase where I think I was posting maybe 3 times a day a few months ago, but then it just became a little bit like now with the new course that with us releasing a new course every month, my attention's been shifted a little bit more to the design side, but definitely posting every day. I think just be consistent with your posting, and yeah, just post whatever it is that you make. If it doesn't do well, you could always hide it, but I guess it's also like if you want to be authentic and just keep it there because it's just all part of your journey and your process. I think I definitely recommend, like, if you can post twice a day, definitely do that, but otherwise just posting once every day, and applying that pyramid method of creating inspirational, educational, promotion, and just creating like a variety of content like that. I think it works the best, definitely.
Charlene is saying
Yeah.
sounds like a full-time job. I think, well, what makes you said you keep yourself to 30 minutes a video. So that's potentially
Yeah.
30 minutes to an hour a day. What about
Yeah.
cross-posting? Like, do you see a reel that works well on Instagram working well on TikTok and vice versa? Or do you really think we need to think of the channels separately?
So no, I definitely see a pattern in all the videos that do really well on Instagram have been trending on TikTok maybe 2 or 3 weeks before. So Instagram is definitely a little bit more behind in terms of keeping up with the trends, but I guess it's keeping up with the trends in its own time. So
Yeah.
I think that's also a nice way to kind of boost your engagement and in terms of creating content. If you are strictly Instagram, it's also, TikTok is such a cool tool to use in terms of like seeing what is trending. So you could also get ahead of the game on what to post in Instagram. So yeah, definitely. I think it's a lot easier, makes a lot more sense to see what's happening on TikTok before and then integrating that into your Instagram. And we find that sometimes the things that work really well on TikTok may work better on Instagram, or sometimes the Instagram reels we create don't work so great on TikTok. But I guess it's all a very different audience and the algorithm is so different. So that's all it is.
But that's a good time-saving tip. At least you don't have to create completely separate things for both channels.
Yeah, I found that the videos that did exceptionally well on TikTok were the ones that I randomly found, like some sort of interview of like someone saying something that was so random, and it would be like a 10-second video, and I'd post that. I wouldn't even go and edit it, and then it would get like 500,000 views. But it's always the ones that require the least amount of effort that I find do so well. But I guess that's just how it's worked for us.
Yeah.
But I think that's just a nice rule that I give to myself also in terms of time management, is never spend more than 30 minutes on a video.
Yeah. I think I mean, it's also interesting, like Nadia said, she creates her videos in real time, just doing what she's doing anyway, because that's the most authentic. And sometimes, I mean, she has had some incredible trend-based videos go viral, and she speaks into that. But other than a few. She's like, often once you've seen a trend, then it's too late. So you're actually
Yeah.
better off just creating your own content from your own life and engaging like that way.
Yeah, definitely. I've looked at Nadia's content and her feed, and I see that she even goes as far as to posting like maybe 5 videos a day. But I could see she has that real time approach where she's just constantly just posting whatever she sees as trending, and I see that's worked her very well. So yeah, if you need support in knowing that, that's a good example of someone who does post consistently and a lot. It does work.
Yeah. And whose course we're launching tomorrow morning, which is super exciting. For all of you who are already in the platform, obviously it's just going to be added straight in there for you. So all of her videos, a couple of how-tos will come as well, and a workbook. So you can, if this sounds like a lot, you can sit and map out your strategy following that guidance. And if you're not a member yet, then in the caption here, you can click through and join. And then you'll also get sent that course out tomorrow, which is super exciting. Any final words, Mix?
Yeah, just wishing you guys all the best. I hope that you learn a lot from your own TikTok journey, and yeah, definitely tune into Nadia's course. It's brilliant. I've watched it, so you'll definitely learn a lot if you're looking to further grow your TikTok feed, and yeah, growing your business in TikTok. It's a great platform to be in. Cool. I'm excited.
There is one more question that we will take before we wrap up fully. And Lauren is asking, how much influence do the hashtags on TikTok have on the video's reach?
Okay, yes. So that's actually a very good question. I see what I've noticed and what I constantly see TikTok trying to promote. They do promote hashtags, but I don't think they want you to overflow your comment section with hashtags. I think the general rule is to apply 3 or 4 hashtags per video and make sure that it's relevant to whatever it is the video is about. If you do put any sort of text in your video, say for instance, like I'm going to use ChatGPT. If you're talking about ChatGPT inside your video and you apply any text or any headline in your video that talks about that mentions the word ChatGPT, make sure you hashtag ChatGPT in the comments, because the algorithm will pick up how your video is relevant and it'll direct your video to the right audience based on whatever it is that you hashtag. But yeah, just be very selective of what you're hashtagging. Don't overdo it and just hashtag ChatGPT, #GPT life, ChatGPT, whatever. Just be very selective, make it relevant, and yeah, I think very important. That was a very nice question.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren, for that. And thank you, Micaela, for jumping on and sharing all of that. Appreciate it, particularly with a big launch tomorrow. And everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Thank you for commenting, asking questions. We run CEO Diaries every week. However, next week is going to look a little different. Instead of being on the channels that you're joining us on now, I'm going to be hosting a webinar. So it'll be an hour-long session instead of the roughly half an hour. And it is for any of you who are interested in launching your own course. So it is a webinar called How to Essentially Increase Revenue Using Only What You Already Know. So how do we go about packaging up knowledge, skills, experience into courses, promoting those, and essentially creating online revenue streams? So if that is of interest, keep an eye on your inbox and these channels. We'll post out the invitation later this week. And I hope to see you all next Wednesday. Awesome. Have a good one. Thank you, Mix. Bye.
Bye.